Where were you in the blizzard of 70?
Well, that's
You weren't
back
even
when-
born
back when I
yet.
was negative 14.
Glimmer in their eye.
I was negative 14 then.
I'll officially call this meeting to order, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners for January 23rd. Join me for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Thomas will lead us with a short prayer.
Lord, I truly believe that travel inspires, and I appreciate the opportunity that you give me to travel and show me how diverse and broad your universe is and all the people that reside in it. I thank you daily for the good fortune of being born in the United States of America, where we have the best form of government for all of the people and have the opportunity to realize all of our goals. And I wish that everyone in this world can have the opportunity to experience the same level of reasonable government that we have in the United States, so that they can also fulfill their mission in life. In your name we pray. Amen.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kirchner, Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Commissioner Stacy.
Here. Okay, we'll have the signing of the journal, and I'll accept the motion to approve the audio-video recording of the previous session of January 16th.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right. Any adjustments to the printed agenda? Anything to add?
Yeah, just under old business, I'd like to make a few comments about the annex.
Okay. Stacy, do you have anything to add? Nicole? Okay. All right. Move forward with old business. Well, we'll start with that so we don't forget it. The annex.
Okay, one of the things I just want to talk a little bit about the annex, the project, where it's at, because I think we owe it to the taxpayers to use a certain level of precision in our language so that everyone understands the status of the project. When I came on board, we knew that we had to do some renovations to the annex so that we can move juvenile probate in there. I don't think there's been any question about that. This board has had the foresight to set aside $500,000 for that project. We often say that money is budgeted, but I want to make sure that we all understand that that wasn't the budget for that project. That was money we set aside. The prudent thing to do is to set money aside when we have an anticipated project. So the effort that goes into discovery of what the budget will be is the process we've been in now for almost a year. Discovering what work needs to be done, how to best utilize the space, and so until we get engineering estimates, we don't truly arrive at a budget. So we have said, and we are guilty of this, that we have money budgeted for the annex, which is we have money set aside, and that doesn't necessarily correlate directly to the cost of the project. So I think it's important for us to use precision of language, and we'll try to be better, because when we get into situations where we're in this discovery of the scope of the project, those numbers are going to move, dramatically, potentially. And so I just want to make sure that everybody in this room understands that there is a process to the discovery of the budgeted amount. The other thing I'd like to say about the annex is there's really 3 projects there. There's the reprogramming project, which is for juvenile probate. And in that reprogramming is an updating, your standard paint paper kind of program. There's kind of the kickoff to our technology initiative, which is to have a countywide, centrally located, secure, backed up server with fire protection and backup power, which is important for our E911, our justice system, our county functions, and this is going to be the beginning of probably a 24-month conversation
Right.
on technology and fiber and connectivity and internet speed and all of these things. So there's certain parts of this project that are the kickoff to that, unrelated to Annex, but as we're doing the reprogramming of the Annex, it makes sense to leverage and utilize those engineering fees to maximize them and include that with this project. And then the third part of the project is, of course, any opportunity we have to make an investment that's in the best long-term interest of the taxpayers, like LEDs, insulation, power-saving devices. We need to seriously consider those, and those are changes. That's a change in the scope of this project a bit, but it merits mentioning that a good chunk of what we're considering is something that there is a payback to the taxpayers on. So, and I know these things have been said before, but I just want to make sure that we're all talking the same language. All of us are here all the time, and we kind of get the status of things. But when things get out to the taxpayers, they get a little confused because they're not here for every conversation like we are. So we're going to try and do a better job of using more precise language. An example that we have right now in the budget, and I don't know how this is going to come out, so save me if it's wrong, but we have budgeted or set aside $20,000 for the facade of the RTA. Clean and stain or paint. Well, as we start looking at that project, it could be $750,000, right? I mean, we could spend a lot of money on that, John, couldn't we? I would hate to think that we would compare what the final project is to the amount that we set aside several years ago to clean and paint. It's a budgeted amount, but it's not the budget. So I'm just trying to clean up the precision of language so that we're all talking about the same thing and it doesn't create confusion in the community. So, any questions on that? Is there any way that we can say these things so that they're more clear? Because we really want to be as accurate as we can and as transparent, but it's difficult when we're not using all the same vernacular.
I think part of it comes to, we have conversations, we pick up from the previous conversation we had, not
Right.
trying to mislead, but we know where we're at, but we forget, we gotta step back sometimes to make sure everybody's on the same page with us, so points well understood, for me anyway. So I get that. Yeah, I know, I heard a news report this morning that, made it sound like we were over budget by $235,000 on the Annex project. I'm going, no, that's not right, but but that's
Yeah.
just the way it, like you said, misuse of terms, that kind of thing causes that.
Jimmy, go ahead and ask questions.
I just want to ask, there was a meeting where Encompass came in and gave an estimate, right? So, at least the way I believe that I reported it was, this is what their estimate was, and then there have been some changes to the scope of the project, which made the price go up. I don't think I was saying that the budget for the project was $500,000. I was saying that's the amount that was previously set aside. That was not limiting to that. Maybe people mistook that, but I do apologize if it came off that way, because that's not what it was meant to be.
And it was, which I know is not you, Jimmy, it was the headline more than anything, and we went with your story.
And we've had this discussion, right?
Yeah, we know.
So,
So sorry, but it wasn't you.
this is a very good point, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I think it's an over budget.
yeah, it says costs up 55%, which is comparing to what we heard in the courtroom when we had that meeting.
Right.
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, and
I'm just,
we
I'm
need
sorry.
to be
but-
better to
Yeah.
ourselves, and we
Me too.
need to use precise language and make sure that those narratives don't get out there, because, you know, we're, you know, absolutely, I mean, you guys know, I've been like a dog on a bone on this, and so, you know, we're after every cost we can, but we're not going to not do something that's in the best interest of the county just for appearances. I mean, like LED lights. I'm not even saying that we're doing that for sure, but if the payback looks reasonable, you know, I'm going to advocate very strongly for that. You know, creating a secure server room with climate control and energy backup, you know, we can eliminate a lot of those things and deliver an inferior project. But you know, from my standpoint, we would want to do the best job we can. So I just want to make sure, and if we ever have any questions about whether it's budgeted or a budget or an estimate, or, you know, let's have that conversation so we can do the best job we can, get that information out to people.
And in my story last week, I may have used that word budgeted instead of set aside, but I tried to go to pains. In fact, I wrote a suggested head and subhead where I made it clear that I had nothing to do with requests from the court, because I think you folks were kind of sensitive that, you know, when I asked the question, well, why is it 65% higher than it was at one time? And Mike was very quick to point out, had nothing to do with requests from Judge Meyer. You know, and again, I even had that in the subhead that,
Yeah.
you know, they had nothing to do with the court's request.
Do you think set aside and budget are synonymous? I mean, do you think there would be a better way? Because you're talking about precise language. So, I mean, what would be an example of trying to make clear that set aside doesn't mean this is the final end all be all budget? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, in our vernacular, I mean, the document is the budget.
Right.
So if we move it someplace in that document, it's a budget event.
Right.
So that, you
Yeah.
know, it's in the budget, it's budgeted. It's, you know, those, I think those are accurate uses of the word. But maybe when we're talking about a project where the scope's going to change and the, you know, the estimates are going to come in and the bids are going to come in, maybe saying set aside in that
Sure.
context is a better
Okay,
better
that's
use
what
of
I did,
language.
and that's why I'm asking. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think I should shy away from set aside because you think that means to some people that's what the budget for the project is, I could try to use a different term, but I mean that's what you guys have used. You said
Yeah,
you set
absolutely.
aside this, and that doesn't limit you
Yeah.
to that amount, but that's what you said you set aside. So
Right.
okay, good. I just
Right.
want to kind of get on the same page.
I think
So-
our stories today will help clarify things.
and yeah, I agree.
And you know, hopefully, you know, with any you know, good fortune, we get bids back that are below,
Right.
and we have, you know, another set of numbers to work with there, Becker. And we've seen that
Oh, yeah.
often enough. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like making a sausage. You don't really want to watch the process.
Right.
And with that,
Okay.
I was wondering where that was going.
I'm having fun. Where is he going with that?
we'll have it straight
Take two.
today. I got it right here. RTA project now to be 700,000. I got it.
It's something about pork, right?
But
Are we still
Mike, you miss
rolling?
all the fun when you're not here.
Are we still rolling?
You lost us a little bit.
something sausage.
all right, thank you for letting me pontificate on that.
All right, well, we'll segue to the Justice Center then, if there's nothing else on the annex. The new portion of the soon-to-be Seneca County Justice Center, the building that's under construction, things going well over there. Couple of key events that right after the meeting last week, you know, is when we learn of the cupola for target date of arriving and all of those good stuff, or whenever it was, 2 weeks ago, whatever, I lost track of time. But cupola's under construction, as you can see if you drive by in front of South Washington Street. Looks like they got the dome portion well underway under construction, and then there's the other piece, the clock tower portion, and so forth. The target date we have, and we will find out more about this specifically in the leadership team meeting on Thursday of this week at noon, and we'll drill the contractor down then specifically. but the lift is scheduled for Monday, the 29th. I do not know time, I do not know how long that process will take, but on Thursday, we'll learn a lot more about all that, if that target date is still good, if they need to adjust it. They wanted about 2 weeks to build the cupola. That included getting the wiring necessities into it for the illumination that takes place. Much easier to do that on the ground. As well as, obviously, there's some wiring and whatnot for the 4 clocks that are in that clock tower portion. So we're targeting Monday at this point. We'll know more fine details that we will need to know or want to know. I just remind everybody, you can get on our website, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners.
Seneca-County.
Seneca-County, yeah, what she said. And you can watch, this stuff, if the weather is not up such, as beautiful it was yesterday, to watch what's going on up the day of the lift or the construction that's taking place, because it's not all, there's a lot of stuff going on the inside that you can't see, but from the camera, but this definitely gives you something to watch from the outside, so that's exciting. A lot of carpeting going on the inside, final paint, finishing up millwork, interior finishes, and again, working on the cupola on the outside. So we'll get a much better read on updates of the timing and stuff for the cupola and Lady Justice lift. Lady Justice arrived as well. Also on where we're at target of completion of the project. So when is it going to be ours to do our phone and our data and our security and the things that we are accountable for on the project, which obviously relates to whatever our move-in schedule can start to begin to be. So we're hoping we're somewhere close to where our last estimates was in the month of March to start moving some folks, but well, more news to come on that after the meeting on Thursday, or at the meeting on Thursday, we'll all learn. So I guess that's my update, unless there's anything anybody else has for the Justice Center. Okay, let's move forward. There's no other old business to new business, and begin through the supplementals. And
I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the county sewer district fund, putting $22,000 into capital improvements for the 23 to 24. A resolution authorizing the disposal of an unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property, a 2006 Buick Rendezvous, asset number 26575, on behalf of the Drug Task Force. A resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into an agreement with the Seneca County General Health District for 2018 nursing services on behalf of the Seneca County Youth Center. Resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with Huron County Board of Commissioners for the receipt, custody, and care of Huron County juveniles on behalf of the Seneca County Youth Center for 2018. A resolution authorizing the addendum for the agreement with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections 2018 Community-Based Corrections Program 407. And I think that's all the resolutions I have.
that's a motion to approve.
So moved.
And I will second. We'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Okay, all approved. Alright. There is no other business. Opportunity for citizens' comments at this time. Yes, anyone have anything? Tom?
I just want to make a comment. Last Saturday night at 8 o'clock, I went by the courthouse and they were working on the cupola then. There was guys there with lights working on, or people, I shouldn't say guys,
Yeah.
people.
People working on it, yes. I think they want to meet the deadline. I know Saturday morning they were out there working.
Were
I
they?
was by and taking pictures,
Sunday
so they kept
also.
working. Were they on Sunday as well? It's awesome. It's awesome. It's looking neat. It's pretty mammoth sitting there in that front yard there.
Okay.
Yes. Anything else for citizens' comments? Okay, accept a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second. It's 10:19, we stand adjourned.